Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Without Limit podcast, the place where you learn to speak English naturally and confidently. I'm your host, Julia, and I'm so glad you're joining me today for another episode full of practical tips and real encouragement. In today's episode, we're going to explore something that many English learners struggle with. And that's how to speak the way you think. Have you ever had a great idea in your mind, but when you tried to say it in English, it just didn't come out the way you wanted? Maybe you paused too long. Maybe you translated from your native language and it didn't sound quite right. Or maybe your sentence just felt awkward. You're not alone. This happens to so many learners. And today we're going to talk about why that happens and how to fix it. This episode is all about helping you connect your thoughts directly to English so that you can speak more fluently, more confidently, and more naturally. We'll look at the reasons behind this common challenge, and I'll also share simple, powerful techniques you can practice every day to train your brain to think in English without always translating in your head. We'll also do a short role-play exercise, and at the end, I'll give you a fun challenge you can start right away. So make sure you listen to the end. All right, let's get started. Why is it so hard to speak the way you think? One of the biggest reasons is this. Most learners think in their first language and then try to translate into English. But here's the problem. Translation takes time, and it's rarely perfect. You might start with a clear thought in your native language, but by the time you try to translate it into English, your brain is working overtime. You pause, you second guess, and sometimes you lose the moment. Another common reason is fear. Fear of making mistakes. You might think, what if I say it wrong? Or, what if I sound weird? So you hesitate, you hold back, you stay quiet, even when you have something to say. And then there's the pressure to get everything grammatically correct. Many learners focus so much on grammar that they forget the most important goal of speaking, to communicate. Let me remind you, communication is more important than perfection. Even native speakers make mistakes all the time. The difference is they keep talking anyway. And finally, many learners simply haven't trained their brain to think in English. If all your learning is passive, reading, listening, memorizing, but you're not practicing forming your own thoughts in English, then speaking becomes difficult. Here's a helpful comparison. Think about how children learn their first language. They don't start with grammar rules. They listen, they copy, they speak, and they repeat. That's natural language learning. If you're always reading English or memorizing vocabulary, but you're not actively thinking in English, then when it's time to speak, it feels unfamiliar and awkward. So to sum it up, here are the common reasons people struggle to speak the way they think. Translating from their first language. Fear of making mistakes. Focusing too much on grammar. Not practicing thinking in English. But here's the good news. All of these can be improved and even completely transformed with the right mindset and simple daily habits. And that's what we're going to dive into next. So, let's keep going. How thinking in English helps you speak better. Now that we've talked about the problems, like translating in your head, hesitation, and fear of mistakes, let's explore one of the best solutions, thinking directly in English. So, why is this so powerful? Well, thinking in English is a total game changer. When you train your brain to think in English, you remove that middle step. the one where you translate from your native language first. Suddenly, your thoughts can flow naturally into English, just like a native speaker. That means you can speak faster, with less hesitation, because your brain is already working in English mode. You're not wasting time translating each word. You're just speaking. And here's something even better. Your sentences start to sound more natural. You stop using strange direct translations like, "I very like it," and instead, you say what a real English speaker would say. "I really like it." That's the power of thinking in the language. There's also a big boost in confidence. When you practice thinking in English every day, your brain becomes familiar with it. You feel more comfortable, and you're not as afraid to speak. It becomes a habit, just like brushing your teeth. You also begin to notice common phrases, idioms, and patterns. Your vocabulary grows not by memorizing lists, but by using the words in your own thoughts. Even simple sentences like, "What should I cook today?" or "I need to clean my room." These help you practice. You're using English in your real life, and that's the most powerful kind of learning. So, to sum it up, here's why thinking in English helps you speak better. You speak faster with less hesitation. Your sentences sound more natural. You feel more confident. Your vocabulary and fluency improve over time. And the best part? You don't need a teacher, a class, or any money. You can start right now by just thinking in English a little more each day. Now, let's talk about something just as important. What blocks people from thinking and speaking freely in English? Here are the most common ones. First, mental translation. This is when you think in your first language and try to convert it into English, word by word. It slows you down and often creates awkward or incorrect sentences. It's like your brain is doing double the work. First, creating the sentence in your language, then translating it into English. And as we know, languages don't always match word for word. Second, fear. The fear of making a mistake. The fear of sounding silly. The fear of being judged. All of these can make your mind freeze, even if you know what you want to say. You might think, "Is this correct?" Or, "What if I say it wrong?" And then, nothing comes out. Another block is limited vocabulary. You know the idea you want to express, but you don't know the exact word. So instead of saying something simple or adjusting the sentence, you just stop. But here's a secret. You don't need big, fancy words. You can express almost anything using simple vocabulary if your ideas are clear. And finally, many learners overthink grammar. You might wonder, is this the right tense? Or should I use have or had? And that overthinking stops you from speaking naturally. Yes, grammar matters, but it should never stop you from expressing yourself. It's better to say something simple and clear than to say nothing at all. Here's a quick list of the common blocks. Mental translation, fear of mistakes, limited vocabulary, overthinking grammar. And the good news? All of these can be improved with practice, consistency, and a positive mindset. Now, let's move into the solution zone. I want to share with you some simple daily practices that will help you train your brain to think in English. And the best part? You don't need a teacher or a textbook. You just need a few minutes a day and the willingness to try. Let's go. 1. Describe your day in English. From the moment you wake up, start describing what you're doing. In simple English, I'm brushing my teeth. I'm making breakfast. I'm checking my messages. You don't even need to say it out loud. Just think it. 2. Talk to yourself. Yes, it might feel funny at first, but it's very effective. Ask yourself questions like, how do I feel right now? Or, what did I do today? You can even talk while looking in the mirror. 3. Use English in your daily routine. Set your phone and apps to English. Watch short videos, listen to podcasts like this one, or think in English while cooking, walking, or commuting. The more your brain hears and uses English, the more natural it becomes. 4. Write short thoughts or journal entries in English. You don't need to write a whole page, just 2 or 3 sentences a day. Today was a good day. I studied English for 30 minutes. I feel proud. 5. Try visual thinking. Look at a photo, something outside your window, or a random object, and describe it in English. The sky is cloudy. There's a boy playing. A dog is sleeping under the bench. You're connecting what you see with English, directly, without translation. Here's a quick recap of the 5 practices. Describe your day in English. Talk to yourself. Use English in your daily routine. Write short thoughts in English. Use visual thinking with what you see. And remember, it's okay to make mistakes. The goal is to build fluency and confidence, not perfection. Now it's time for one of my favorite parts, role play practice. Let's imagine a real-life situation, meeting someone new at a coffee shop. I'll go first, and then you'll have a chance to try it yourself. Role play. Meeting someone new. Hi there. Is this seat taken? No, it's free. You can sit here. Thanks. I'm Jason, by the way. What's your name? Nice to meet you, Jason. I'm Julia. Nice to meet you too, Julia. So, do you come here often? Yes, I love this place. It's quiet, and the coffee is really good. Totally agree. What do you usually order? A latte, usually, and sometimes a muffin if I'm hungry. Okay, now it's your turn. I'll ask the questions, and you try to answer in your own words. Ready? Hi there. Is this seat taken? I hope you said something friendly. I'm Jason. What's your name? Good job. Do you come here often? Nice answer. What do you usually order? Yum. Sounds tasty. Even if your answers were simple, that's perfect. The key is to speak without overthinking. Just say what feels natural in English. And remember, you can practice like this anytime, in your mind, with a friend, or even by recording yourself. Coming up next, we're going to talk about how to use real-life situations to improve your thinking and speaking in English. So stick around. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back to English Without Limit. Today, we're diving into something that holds many English learners back: overthinking while speaking. You've probably heard that voice in your head before. What if I say it wrong? Is this grammar correct? Do I sound strange? And while you're thinking all of that, the moment to speak passes, or you freeze up completely. So in this episode, I'm going to share 5 simple tips to help you stop overthinking and start speaking freely. Let's get started. Tip 1. Focus on the message, not the mistake. Your goal is to communicate your idea, not to speak perfectly. Instead of worrying about grammar, ask yourself, is my listener understanding me? That's what matters most. Even native speakers make mistakes. Don't aim for perfection, aim for connection. Tip 2. Don't wait for the perfect word. If a word doesn't come to mind, use a simpler word or describe it another way. For example, instead of saying frustrated, you could say, I feel a little angry and tired. This keeps the conversation going and helps your brain learn new ways to express the same idea. Tip 3. Practice speaking without editing. Try this simple exercise. Pick a topic and talk about it for 1 minute every day. Don't stop. Don't correct yourself. Just speak. It builds fluency quickly and gets you comfortable thinking and speaking at the same time. Tip 4. Breathe and slow down. Overthinking often comes from nervousness. So take a deep breath. Speak slowly. It's not a race. Slowing down gives your brain more time to organize your thoughts and helps your listener understand you better. Tip 5. Use positive self-talk. Instead of saying, "I can't speak well," try, "I'm improving every day." "I'm getting better with practice." Your mindset makes a big difference. Be your own coach, not your critic. Let's recap those 5 tips to stop overthinking. Focus on the message, not the mistake. Don't wait for the perfect word. Practice. 1-minute talks. Slow down and breathe. Use positive self-talk. Each one helps you train your brain to speak clearly and confidently. Now, let's talk about some real-life stories. These are examples of learners who started to speak the way they think, naturally and with confidence. One of them is Sarah. Sarah used to translate everything from her native language into English. Speaking felt slow and stressful, but she started describing her daily life in English. Simple things like what she was doing, what she was seeing, and even began talking to herself. Within a few months, she could speak more smoothly. She paused less and felt more confident. And the best part? She stopped worrying about grammar and focused on expressing her ideas. Then there's Ahmed. Ahmed was nervous about his accent. He avoided speaking because he thought it didn't sound right, but he began role-playing conversations by himself, practicing situations like ordering food or asking for directions. With time, the fear faded. He started speaking freely. People enjoyed talking with him, not because his English was perfect, but because he was confident and clear. These stories remind us that fluency is about progress, not perfection, and that mindset, more than anything, shapes your success. Now it's your turn. For the next 3 days, pick one simple practice from this episode. Describe your day in English talk to yourself out loud. Do a 1-minute talk. You don't need to be perfect. Just be consistent. Even a few sentences a day can make a big difference. And here's a bonus idea. Try recording yourself. Listen back. Notice your progress. Celebrate it. And if you'd like, share your experience with others, whether it's online, with a friend, or in a journal. Sharing creates connection and accountability. Let's quickly recap what we talked about today. We explored how overthinking can block your fluency and how to overcome it. We covered 5 practical tips, shared real-life stories, and set up a simple 3-day challenge for you to take action. Speaking the way you think is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice. So be patient with yourself. Keep going. And most importantly, enjoy the process. Thanks so much for spending time with me today on English Without Limit. I'll see you in the next episode. And until then, keep thinking in English and keep speaking with confidence.